wherever you are. Welcome again to Coming Down to Custom Woodworking. We're spraying another, well, we've done a bunch of these already. There's like 4 in a row. We're doing the staircase part, but we're also doing the second floor. We're going to be doing all the molding and everything else. So this is the casing, the door frames, and we used 4 maple. I used 8-4 maple for the handrail. What does that mean? Basically 2-inch solid maple and 1 piece. No joints on this baby, you know. We created a modern look, but what we're here for is clear coat. Clear coat, clear coat, clear coat. We use crystal from time to time. We use a lot on boats, and I'm going to give a shout out or a shout down to my supplier, Ruth. Please, for the love of God, I have to order special polarium. And polarium's like the same amount of money as crystal. But guess what? I'd love to use polarium over crystal any day of the week. Mainly because it's just a better product to spray. For the, you know, and there's less gases. But I got burned a couple of times because this was out of stock. And you know what a nightmare it is to put this on and then be out of stock? I got the problem now with exterior doors. And crystal, they carry this, no problem. I have no complaints. But anybody else in our area, wake up, use 2K or use water-based over here. Stop killing yourself. Now, what I'm here for today is Agualente PLUS. I haven't used this one, so it's our first time. All water-based. I've used here Verathane, and it was a go-to in built-ins. I like using it because I could spray in the shop. Then when I put my moldings together, I had joints. It was easy to just take a foam brush and I could have it like 1 piece. And it really does last. But what happened, I got some, and it got frozen. And then when I tried to go through my gun, it jammed up the lines 100%. So I'm a little pissed off with it. So be careful when you buy it. How you could tell, it looked sort of like cottage cheese, like watery. You know, having enough space, because you're handling, these are about 10, a little over 10 feet, these handrails, so you do need a lot of space to keep them while they dry. Here I just set up a little table. I only have about 4 handrails, have more baseboard than anything else, and you can see I'm crisscrossing straight, crisscrossing. I'm trying to keep the hand very steady. If you see, I'm pretty much the same. Now, it sprays nicely on this piece. I really have no complaints. And you can see, you know, just take it there. There's really no right way to do this. Just don't slip and get on the clear coat. Now I'm turning my little bases down, and now I'll get a clean piece of wood there. And here comes the post. Now the posts are a little trickier to spray with the water base. With this particular one, if I had a pot one, when I say pot, I mean clear gun, I could set the pressure a lot lower with the fluid, but with the pump, you don't have the same luxury. So I got it set down 20. Here I go, 1, 2. This was a mistake I did. I went and did all the backs first. What happened was, when I went and did the front, the backs were sort of dry, so a little bit of fume went on there and dried. But the good news is it left within a few days. The top, if you see the top of the post, it pulled up a bit. So, and there were a couple of sags. There's definitely a big learning curve with this clear coat, so be prepared, but it's well worth it. All right. So our first load from the spray booth. For those that are starting out or just looking to get ideas on finishing, the number one thing is 320, sanding in between. And this tells you really, at the same token, how well it dries. When you do a lot of it, you see how it powders up. So let's just take a look. Oh yeah, really powdered up nicely. I mean, it's hard to see in the camera, right? This was about an hour later, about an hour and a half. And you gotta remember, I'm in the winter now, so the spray booth is kind of cut off from the rest of the shop. I didn't dare put separate heaters in there, especially anything flammable. So it's kind of at the mercy of leaving the door open. What I do like is that there's no smell. Like the other time, you know, you had conversion varnish, you couldn't even go in there unless you had a mask on. So it's really, so far so good, really sealed. But I'd be curious after I coat, I'm gonna put them like this, the day after, face to face, and see if they stick together. Because what happened with the other one, they were like, I talked to my guy, he says, okay, is this post-cat or pre-cat or whatever? He said it's no cat, but that's not true, it's pre-cat. And what that means is, you know, it does have a chemical reaction, means that I think a lot of times you can only keep it for 1 year, you know, because then the chemical reaction never stops. So what happened with the other one in those water bases was pre-cat. When the two touched each other, they created a chemical reaction. They were still curing, and then when I pulled them apart, I had like big blobs. Let's see what happens with this. All right. So that's about it, but it does really feel sealed really nice. And like I said, I'm doing this because, like, look at all these door jambs I got to do, you know, and the handrails and everything. So it's a big job on site. If I, you know, like, I don't mind using conversion varnish, but with this much around the door jambs, it would be hard to touch up those jambs. So I think I'm starting to really like it. All right, let's see how it is at the end. I'll be back 4 coats. They say 3. I like doing 4. All right, thank you. We're back with our Gentian video, and you see when I sprayed it, when I did the post, I sprayed the back first, and I sprayed these 3 sides. There was a little fume on that. And I thought, oh, okay, I gotta touch it. But in a few days, that fume left. When I say fume, it just feels a little rough. The other thing with spraying was okay vertical, but there were little runs. Like I had to be a little faster. I'm gonna try it next time with a smaller tip. I had one, but the stupid little tips are like this, and they're like $100. I've lost one already, 2 of them. And it pulled up a bit here on top. Other than that, I like the look. We wanted natural maple. Now, I've been doing this for years with water-based and Varathane. So this isn't something new. And I would never, ever go in somebody's house and spray lacquer. I've seen it done. I've seen it gazillions of times. If you do have somebody that's willing to do it and says, oh, you can only do it with industrial clear coats inside the house, that's a total myth. Myth, M-I-Y-T-H, if I spell it. What happens is when they spray with lacquer, because before I moved here, Montreal, they were doing a lot of it. They did the floors, and these guys were selling, it was like a lacquer. They could do the floor in like literally 3 hours, give a couple of coats, boom. What happens with the fumes with lacquer, they're heavier than the air. So the fumes go low, like this, and they'll go down to the stairs, and then they'll work their way in the basement. You might say, okay, well, that's the basement. A lot of homes have their furnaces there. And if they have oil or gas, a spark goes. And guess what happens? And yeah, there was about 4 or 5 houses in Montreal before I left that went on fire. And it was a direct result of the clear coat. Of course, you know, I'm going to say, not only that, you don't need to do it. You know, wake up. The other thing, because the reason why it's like that is because we've forgotten how to work with wood. We're easy. We would look at the home store. Oh, we see something painted white, MDF, or whatever. It's garbage in the sense that, you know, if you're a DIYer, or even if you're hiring me or somebody professional, get wood. Don't put that stuff on your home. You bang it with a vacuum cleaner. And every home's looking the same now. You see a picture, they look the same. Or they come up with a wider one. Look at this is modern. But there's nothing like wood. All right. So we sprayed all these in the stores. God. It's been a long morning. I know it's Good Friday for me. But no matter how good you are, it's hard to get those joints perfectly flush. And it's nice to sand them down. The only thing is I didn't use stain, I just used clear coat, so that made life a lot easier with this maple. So what I'm doing now, I'm going beyond any thing, you know, I'm not going to check with Campbell's or anything. And I'm going to go here. And we're just putting it on with a foam brush. I wouldn't do it with conventional lacquer. Like this is a cat. Like post-cat. I don't know exactly the chemistry behind it, so I'm not going to pretend I know. It's like I said, they got so much products now. It's really hard for a small shop or even a large shop to try to make sense of it, you know. Now I'm just going like this, and I'm only trying to hit the first part that I did. I'm almost just letting the wood drink it, all right? And when I say 320, what I mean is I've roughed this up, but I don't want to coat this yet. This is already built up. I'm happy with that. So, I wouldn't recommend for the novice taking a foam brush with this. Use Varathane. Don't use the Agualente unless you can spray it. It was okay with the handrail and everything else because I didn't have to do touch-ups like this because I had to sand those flush. So I took it literally down to the wood. What I found with the Agualente on the foam brush had a lot of bubbles. And so you almost, when you put it on, you got to put it on so thin that you don't get any bubbles. You put it too heavy and you're going to get bubbles. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. But it is passable. Like at about 4 coats, like it was drying as fast as almost I could put it on. So I have no complaints. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, support the channel, and for homeowners, do your homework, learn your clear coats, learn what's going into your home. It's so important, okay?